Happy birthday to you.
You know, there's more to sound than meets the ear.
That's right. In fact, we're immersed in a world of sound that affects most of our everyday lives. In video, we can use sound to add drama and intrigue to ordinary activities, like the ones you saw in the opening sequence.
Authors can influence our mood by describing the sounds of inanimate nature, the thunder of a storm, the pounding of the surf, the whisper of the trees, the gurgling of a brook, the creaking of snow underfoot.
We've developed rich vocabularies to describe the sounds of living things as well. The barking of dogs, the roaring of lions, the chirping of birds, or the crying of infants.
And if the sounds of nature, which we can't control, weren't enough, we've gone right out and produced an abundance of man-made sounds that bring both pleasure and pain to all of us.
The point is, we are constantly surrounded by sound, much of which we never hear simply because we weren't listening.
And that's the difference between this and this.
Exactly. You see, we humans have a unique ability. It's the ability to hear selectively.
And that's something no machine can do. So throughout this program on recording sound for video, we'll show you how to make these things hear the way these things hear. Let's go to a party and we'll show you what we mean.
I'm up for that.
Jana's little gathering here will demonstrate a basic philosophy of sound that will help you clearly comprehend everything else you'll be learning about recording sound throughout this entire program. Now, if you were actually here, in person, you could do something that this mic can't do by itself. You can eavesdrop. You could stand right here where I'm standing, watch one of the conversations going on in the room, and you could basically pick up on what's being said. That's because as a human being, you have the ability to hear selectively, to listen selectively, to literally block out unwanted sound. But to this microphone, this party is nothing but a jumble of noise. Listen. See what I mean? Now, if we really wanted to pick up on Jana's personal comments over there, we practically have to get this microphone into her cheese nacho. We'll come back to the party later and show you how to do just that. But for now, let's go back to the studio for some basics. I heard what you were saying about me at that party, even though the microphone couldn't.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's just because you're binaural.
You'd better tell them what that means.
That means you have two ears. And physiologists tell us that the presence of two ears leads to the binaural effect, which is the ability to detect the direction of approach of sound from a distant source.
And this microphone can't do that, right?
You don't see any ears on it, do you?
Throughout this program, if you constantly remember that microphones don't hear the way people hear, you won't have any problems in grasping the principles of recording good sound for video. And we'll show you some fascinating and fun ways to use sound in home video.
Of course, we know most home video producers don't have all this elaborate recording and mixing equipment, but we'll show you some tricks that even the pros use to get the best sound possible. Let's go back to that party.
We'll get there, but we have to go to school first.
Sound. The succession of slight, rapid variations in air pressure that travel over a distance. Like a billiard ball, sound travels in a straight line until it hits something. The waves bounce off and continue in a straight line until they hit something else. Sound.
That's what sound is. Now let's learn how to capture it. And what better place to learn about sound than on a sound stage?
The key to good audio is believability. That means things that are seen close up should be heard close up.
And things at a distance should be heard at a distance.
Jana will demonstrate that point from way down there. You see, it's important to remember that if your audio isn't realistically believable, your audience will become disoriented and confused. From your point of view, as the audience, Jana should sound like this. Say something, Jana.
When you're seeing me this far away, you should be hearing me this far away.
It wouldn't make any sense if she sounded like this.
When are we going back to that party?
Nor would it make any sense if she sounded like this.
I think you better get down here and help me explain all this stuff.
Okay, but first let me make this important point. Here on the sound stage, something is happening that never happens in real life. Complete silence. You see, this room is totally soundproof. The only sound we hear is that which we make. But this is a great place to demonstrate the basics of sound because we don't have to contend with something that does occur out in the real world, and that's something we call ambient noise.
Ambient noise is simply all of the sound that is present. In fact, it's sometimes simply called presence.
It's all the sound your microphone will hear, and you may not, unless you're listening for it.
If you're shooting your daughter singing a song in your house, ambient noises you might have to contend with could include such unwanted background sounds as a radio playing in another room, water running, or your furnace fan or air conditioner coming on.
Yeah, that's going to be fine, Susie.
How's that?
That's great.
If you don't want these things on your soundtrack, remember to turn mechanical things off before you shoot.
Unfortunately, if you're outside, you can't always turn things off. You can't tell dogs to stop barking, or birds to stop chirping, or airplanes to stop flying over.
This is my favorite one. It says, one last question before you graduate. What is your next cookie? A graham cracker. And it's from Grandma. Yep.
But if you're aware of ambience, though, you can do one of two things. You can either stop shooting and wait for things to quiet down,
or you can learn to control ambient noise with these, microphones. Their pickup patterns alone will help you considerably.
Ironically, the easiest way to explain how microphones hear is to show you with light. Now, there are two basic microphone pickup patterns, omnidirectional and unidirectional. The omnidirectional pickup pattern is very similar to the light pattern given off by a bare light bulb. Watch this.
Omnidirectional microphone, not selective, featuring a pickup pattern of 360 degrees. Picks up sounds equally well from all directions. Can be small and compact. Typically used as a lavalier or wireless mic. Omnidirectional microphone.
Omnidirectional mics pick up sound from every direction, just as this light bulb gives off light in every direction. Thus, an omnidirectional microphone has a pickup pattern of 360 degrees. That means if your little Susie were standing here talking, and her sister were over there making noise, an omnidirectional microphone would pick up every present sound equally. And that's not so good for recording selectively, right?
Unidirectional microphones, however, have pickup patterns more like the pattern of this studio light. Unidirectional microphones pick up sound from specific directions, and their patterns vary from very wide angles to very narrow pickup angles.
Unidirectional, or what we simply call directional mics, have to be aimed directly at the sound source. It's their characteristic to pick up signals very strongly within their pickup pattern and to reject sounds outside the pickup pattern.
Unidirectional microphone, very selective, featuring a pickup pattern of about 80 degrees. Sounds to the side and back are subdued. Good for general use. Unidirectional microphone.
Obviously, directional microphones hear more selectively than omnidirectional microphones, but omnidirectional microphones can hear selectively too. It's all a matter of how you use them, and most of that is a matter of where you place them.
The microphone that's built into most home video cameras is an omnidirectional microphone. It's great for mobility and for recording general sound, but it's not too useful for recording sound selectively unless you're in a very quiet atmosphere with little or no ambient noise. A basic principle of recording good audio is to get your microphone as close to the sound source as possible.
also omnidirectional mics, but they can solve the problem of recording sound selectively because they can be used as external mics. That means that instead of being attached directly to the camera, they can be placed remotely from it, right up next to the sound source. You can put these mics on your actor by using a lavalier and hanging it around his neck, or by clipping it to his clothing. This mic has a cable on it, which plugs into the microphone input jack on your VCR. This microphone, though, is wireless. It transmits audio signals by radio waves back to this receiver, which is plugged into the microphone jack. This will free you from having to deal with unsightly and sometimes cumbersome stretches of cable.
What this will do is this will pick up the sounds that you make while you're talking and while I'm shooting. That way we won't have to worry about that.
Can I zip this back up?
Yeah, not yet. Let me put this microphone right here. And I've got a little wind cover. Okay, let me wrap this up, put it inside your pocket. Okay.
There's so much to this.
Hey, simple. Yeah, that's great.
We're up here at 106th Street, our latest complex. As you can see, we're putting brick facing on. We'll lay probably close to 6,000 bricks today. And tomorrow, they'll lay another 6,000, 7,000, depending on the weather.
These are directional mics. Their pickup patterns vary from this one, which has a wide-angle pickup pattern, to this shotgun mic and windsock, which has an extremely narrow pickup pattern. Now, directional mics have to be handheld or mounted on booms or stands so they can be pointed directly at the sound source. And you'll need to monitor what they're hearing with a pair of headphones plugged into your monitor jack. I'll show you what I mean. Now, this is a live directional mic. You're hearing me through it right now. You'll notice as I move it away from my mouth, my voice fades. As I move it back, my voice returns. Remember that directional mics are very selective, and sometimes that can be a problem.
Basing your microphone selections on pickup patterns can help you control recording quality. After that, it's a matter of where you place your mics and controlling your recording volume.
The biggest problem most people have with recording good sound is distortion. And that comes almost exclusively from overdriving the limits of your recording equipment.
What shall we sing?
No, let's sing Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Got it.
Good idea, yeah. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. A real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I'm a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle went to London just to ride a pony. I am the Yankee Doodle boy.
Your best bet is to place your microphone as close to the sound source as possible to cut out unwanted background noise and to keep the recording volume to within the limits of your recording equipment. There are some other tricks that you should know about placing your microphones that will help you in shooting out in the real world. Maybe we should go out and show them.
Let's go back to that party.
That's not a bad idea.
Back in the studio, we were in a noise-free environment, but this is more like what you'll probably be dealing with. Recording good audio here is a trick, but it's still part of the basics, and here's how you go about it.
Let's start using the microphone that's built into the camera. Remember, it's an Omni. Now let's take it around the room and see what we can get. I'll shoot while you watch the point of view of my camera and listen to what this mic is hearing. I'll start with a wide shot from here, and I'll move it around a little bit. Here we go. The first thing you might notice is that you can hear me talking while I'm shooting. If I'm not careful, you can hear my hands and clothing moving around on the camera. So there's rule 1. If you don't want to be on the soundtrack, be quiet. Give directions in advance, call for action, then edit yourself out of the audio later. The second thing you'll notice is what we heard before. This place is a jumble of noise. Here, let me get a tight shot of Jana over there. I wonder what she's talking about. To pick up Jana selectively, I have to mic her externally. And I have a choice of using a directional mic or an omnidirectional mic, right? And if I used a directional mic, I'd either have to have her hold it, which wouldn't look very natural, or I could put it on a stand, like this. Now let's take a look. Now I have another problem. I still need to zoom in far enough to keep the stand out of my shot, because most people don't like to see a lot of microphones waving around in the picture. I could get the stand out of the shot by using a shotgun mic. Shotgun microphones have a super narrow pickup pattern. I can stand right here, pan the crowd with a shotgun, and actually isolate Jana's conversation. Here, have a listen on these headphones that I've hooked up to the monitor output in my VCR.
I know, it's like, I'll be in tomorrow if I feel like, no, that's not true. I really liked it though, and I didn't have to work weekends, so that was really good. It really allowed me to do.
Good selective audio, but I still have a problem. How can I operate my camera and aim a microphone at the same time? I can't. Now I need a crew. I need another person to operate the microphone, and they have to know exactly where I'm shooting so they can follow me with the audio. The best way to mic Jana in this situation is with an external omnidirectional mic. I'm choosing this wireless model because I don't want all these people to trip over a cable. You know, if this Omni were just sitting out here, it would pick up all the sounds in the room, just like the built-in Omni on my camera. But by placing it properly, I can get great audio. This mic has a clip on it, so I can just clip it on Jana's lapel. Most cabled Omnis require a lavalier to hang around the talent's neck. And if you don't want the mic to be in the shot, you can use a little gaffer's tape to creatively hide the mic inside the talent's clothes. But make sure you get permission first. It's always important to monitor your audio with headphones. In this situation, there's a good chance it will pick up clothing rustle as Jana moves around the room. If you hear that, move your microphone to a different position or have your talent not move around so much. Now let's talk about recording level. If your VCR has automatic gain function, which automatically controls the audio level, watch out. Automatic gain works by picking up the strongest signal in the area and adjusting the recording level to that. Now that's why it's so important to get your microphone right next to the primary sound source. It's the only way you can cut out unwanted ambient noise. Let's see how Jana sounds now.
If my partner's done this right, you should be hearing me above the crowd noise. This is the best way to get selective sound in a noisy environment, whether it's your daughter's birthday party or a foreman on a noisy job site. Remember to watch your recording level, especially if you have auto gain. If I'm quiet for a while, the auto gain may increase and boost the next sound to a disturbing level. Manually controlling your audio level is really the best. Monitor what you're recording and always remember to listen for interruptive ambience. Your video will be more pleasant if you hide your microphones and cables. Tuck them inside clothing or hide them behind something in your scene. Try to avoid recording near hard, flat surfaces because the sound will bounce off of them and distort. Don't put your microphone directly on tables, desks, or countertops. Put padding under them. And if you're using a microphone stand, put padding under it too. Inside, it's best to shoot in rooms with sound-absorbing materials in them, things like draperies, padded furniture, or carpeting. Outside, stay away from the sides of buildings. Shoot out in the open or in areas surrounded with trees and shrubberies. They make great sound absorbers.
Well, those are the basics. Microphone selection, microphone placement, and controlling recording levels.
But there are times when you'll need more than one microphone because you may have more than one primary source of sound.
So you'll need another piece of equipment so you can control all your microphone levels. It's called a mixer, and we'll show you how it works back in the studio. This is an audio mixer. Several models are available to you, and they literally let you mix several independent audio signals into one output signal. As you can see, there are several input jacks instead of the single one you have on your VCR. You can connect a microphone to each of these, or you can combine, say, 2 microphones and an audio cassette recorder or a record turntable to another jack to play a little background music. Up here on top, you can control the level of each input signal with these switches called mixing pots. If someone were speaking into one of the microphones, you'd want their level higher than the level of the music. Now, once you've set up your levels, the mixer will send your finished sound out of this single output jack and into the audio input or line-in jack on your VCR.
Here's one way to use a mixer at the shooting location. We've mic'd our singer with 2 directional microphones, one for his voice and the other for his guitar. Whenever you're using more than one microphone in a scene, it's important to always use the same types, otherwise you get different sound characteristics. So I'm using a directional microphone too, and all 3 microphones are going into the input jacks of this mixer.
I have their 3 mics coming in here, and one output coming out here and going into my VCR. This pot controls the singer's voice level, this is his guitar, and this is Jana. Now, if you were shooting this, you'd have to have a camera operator and an audio operator to work the mixer and to monitor the sound with headphones. But here's what you could do. You could cue the singer to start playing his guitar and then fade that into your audio track. Then you could cue Jana to introduce the singer and fade Jana's voice up and fade the music down just a bit. Then fade Jana all the way out and bring the guitarist's voice up to a pleasing balance with his guitar. Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the music of Dan Hinkle.
Green leaves of summer turn red in the fall, to brown and to yellow they fade.
Perfect. A good mixer and a little practice can give you excellent sound quality.
Using multiple microphones and a mixer, you can record anything from a panel discussion to a parade.
Speaking of a parade, do you remember that neighborhood 4th of July parade we recorded last year?
How could I forget?
I have the tape right here. You know, I think we did everything we could do with home video in recording that parade. Do you remember?
I can't believe you managed to pull my voice out of that noise with just that wireless Omni I was wearing.
I did it with the mixer. You were mic'd tightly enough that I could slide your pot up and pull you out of the crowd noise. And I put a windsock on the other Omni, taped it to the flagstaff to pick up the whole band.
Hi, we're here at the Volkswagen's annual Independence Day block party. The parade's about to begin, so grab an instrument and join right in. I'm here with a couple of the contestants from the bicycle decorating contest. And what's your name?
Ben.
Ben, and did you decorate the bicycle yourself?
No.
Who decorated your bike for you?
My mom and dad.
Your mom and dad. And how old are you, Ben?
6.
6, and so what grade will you be in next year?
2nd.
2nd grade, huh? Okay, and who are you?
Beverly.
Beverly. And did you decorate your bicycle yourself?
No, my mommy and daddy.
Your mom and
This is
dad?
where we use the directionals to cut out
Did
all
you
the
ride
noise
your
of those
bike in the
people who
parade?
kept trying to form a band again.
You did. That's a long ride, isn't it?
That was quite an event, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's part of the fun of recording audio, either at the shoot or in the edit.
That's right. You know, you can do all kinds of things in editing audio just by using the audio dub feature on your VCR. You can actually replace the original soundtrack you shot without disturbing the picture.
When you're watching one scene, like this, and hearing me speak without seeing me in the picture, we call that voiceover, because you're hearing my voice over the picture. When you're hearing the sounds you'd expect to be present in the scene, but those sounds aren't in synchronization with the picture, we call that wild sound. Listen.
It's easy to dub in a new soundtrack over the one you originally shot, whether it's a voiceover narration, sound effects, or music. And if your shooting conditions were such that you couldn't get good original audio, you can sometimes save your production by adding wild or non-synchronous sound. Here's how you do it.
To simply narrate what you've just shot, connect a microphone to your VCR through the microphone input jack, or simply connect your camera to your VCR and use the built-in microphone to speak into. Rewind your pre-recorded tape to the point where you want to change the sound. Then put your VCR in the playback mode and hit pause. Now put your VCR in the audio dub mode, release the pause, and begin talking into the microphone to narrate what's going on visually. When you're through, stop your tape immediately, rewind it, and play it back to see if what you just recorded works for you. If not, do it again.
For real control, though, it's best to pre-record your new audio on an audio recorder. You can even use your mixer to add sound effects or music to your narration. And you can do all of this without running the risk of erasing some of the video by starting and stopping your VCR so much.
We must warn you that all commercially recorded music is licensed and copyrighted. Don't use it on your productions, especially if you're planning to sell them. There are several sound effects and music libraries available to you, though. Check with local recording studios in your town for the best sources near you. Sound effects and music are produced for producers like you to use in your own productions. But in order to use commercially produced recordings, you need the permission of the publishers, the artists, and the producers. And that permission can be very expensive.
Now, do you really want to have some fun? Come with me. You can make sound effects at home. Here's some tricks the movie makers have used for years.
To create the sound of rainfall, trickle salt or uncooked rice onto cardboard, cellophane, or into an empty can. You can create anything from a gentle rain to a full-blown downpour. Experiment and see what you get.
You can make hoofbeats by taking 2 half coconut shells, hold them in your hands like this, and pound them on a solid surface, like this.
Build yourself a fire by wrinkling cellophane in your fingers.
Need a voice that sounds like it's coming over the telephone? Have one of your actors stand off camera and talk into a tall glass at an angle like this.
Need a distant gunshot? Whack a leather seat with a flat piece of wood.
And of course, if you've heard a distant gunshot, you need a body falling, right? Try this. Try sitting at a table and holding your arms like this. Then drop both your elbows to the table and follow very quickly with your forearms. Now cut that out.
Seriously, folks, audio can be a lot of fun, and most of the fun can be in doing the unexpected, with purpose, of course.
Practice the serious techniques you've learned in this program to get good audio.
And once you've mastered those, you can use your skills to be more entertaining. Try pre-recording audio and miming video. Try post-recording using the impact and drama of sound effects and music to enhance your video. In the meantime, don't misplace any microphones.
And happy recording.